Quincy lives, at least for right now. I cannot promise it will be the same in the future. For those of you who don't know, Quincy is the strife that I have here that I've been doing various nefarious things to, and right now it looks pretty normal, but trust me, Quincy will die, and then be reborn, but will in fact die. And some of you thought that putting all this stuff on here would be, that's the modification. I know I have plans to literally cut Quincy in half, and then stitch it back together. It should be a fun mod, but until I get to do that, or until I happen to come across another strife so I don't have to sacrifice Quincy to the gods, I have some things that I need him to demonstrate for me, or she. I haven't figured out what one it is. They, how about that? It could be anything, we don't know, it's just called Quincy. And that is some parts I was sent from NFStrike.com and by proxy Lightake.com as well, who sent me a wide variety of parts that, well, I think just about every single one of them could technically apply to Quincy, but really only one of them does. But let's start off with some, something I don't usually cover, some barrel and different kind of rail attachments. So these will work with a stock Nerf blaster. Ignore the fact that Quincy has a bunch of stuff bolted to it, but it does use a standard Nerf tactical rail and or muzzle attachment piece, and you can throw various stuff on there, like this thing. Now, looking at this, you'd be like, that kind of looks like a modulus attachment. You'd be 100% right. Even the, like, you can't really see it all that well, but this paint, while it is a very nice, flat, matte paint job, has scratched off in a couple of little places and shows various oranges and whites on it. It is a slightly different shade than we're used to with the stock Nerf stuff. Like, the molding is actually different enough to be a different part, but yeah, it is in fact a wannabe Nerf modulus attachment piece, which means it will, of course, go on the front of virtually any Nerf blaster that has that kind of thing on it. Which is, looks pretty cool. I don't lie, it looks pretty nifty. Now, the weird thing is you can find these in a variety of different ways on the actual NFStrike website. You can find them unpainted, which makes them cost more for some reason. You can also find them, like, have, like, some dry brushing and stuff on them, so whatever you fancy, if you're buying stuff there already, like a bowl of darts, you can throw in a couple of barrel attachments or something. This is a really nice little attachment. I just, why I do like the paint job, I would have preferred them unpainted, because, well, if I had this on the end of my blaster, even like that, I would be afraid to really take that out to a public park, because, police, you know, that kind of thing, really wouldn't rather deal with that kind of stuff, and it gets a little bit worse when I put this on there. This is like, maybe a Barrett kind of muzzle brake attachment kind of thing. This is not any kind of Nerf attachment that I know of off the top of my head. This is something that looks almost wholly original. This is very similar. This is something completely different. I have no idea if this is mimicking something. And sure enough, if you look around on the blaster, you can in fact find places right there. I don't know how well you can see that because of the lack of lighting, where it is obviously orange on the inside, and it was just painted black. I mean, it's a very nice paint job. It's well done. I can't see a spot in here where it wasn't painted thoroughly, but that's just kind of weird to me. And, well, it just looks goofy on the end of this thing. That's for sure. How about a flashlight attachment? Now, these are relatively useful. At the last one we went to at Fort Flagler, this would have been incredibly useful to have on me because, well, there's a lot of dark places down there. If you don't have a light, then it can be pretty difficult. The other problem with that is that if somebody's down there without a light and you have a light, it makes you a pretty easy target to find. And this one has a button back here. Press that in, and it lights up with what looks to be UV, but I'm pretty sure it's just a bright blue LED. I'm almost certain it's not any kind of actual UV stuff, but it's hard to tell, really. There's some spots that I don't know, like, wow, shining that made my phone go off. I don't know, it doesn't really seem like it's actually UV. I don't really have a good way to test it. But yep, it's a standard Nerf-style attachment, so you can just kind of put it on like this. On this bottom rail here, it's a little bit loose, but if you put it on an actual blaster, it's a little bit better. And it doesn't have any of that kind of side-to-side worry, so you just have to worry about it coming off forwards, which is pretty easy to mitigate. And yeah, that fits up with the whole thing, but of course we've got one more thing. I'm gonna have to take this off and demonstrate it, though. We got all this stuff on here, and the final thing, of course, we need is some kind of scope. So, why the heck not? Now, the scope is the closest to an actual Nerf attachment that I've actually seen so far. It looks very similar to the one from the Modulus line, the long-distance upgrade kit, and it's basically the same thing. pull this out, you can see it's got two plastic little reticles in it, no kind of plastic or anything in there. It doesn't actually magnify anything. It just looks cool, and just like those other ones, yeah, it's a painted piece. It was originally orange and white at some point, and now it's been painted completely black for some explained reason. So, I mean, I've seen, like, thrifted blasters where people have spray painted them all black, so some people really like that kind of stuff. Me, I'm not a fan of it, obviously. But, yeah, this is a nice little set of attachments. The good things are, these are not very expensive, so they run anywhere from, like, $3 to $7. So if you were already buying stuff and you thought these attachments would work for something you were currently building, you can pick them up, totally. Again, on NFStrike.com, there will be links down in the description for them. Not quite my thing. They seem relatively solid. Nice. I don't really have anything bad to say about them. They're priced accordingly. It's not really my thing. Something that's also not really my thing, but is reasonably cool, I should say, are these things. Kind of weird. They're like rubbery thingies, but if you've looked at this kind of piece before, you have a vague idea of what these are. These are things that go on the end of your magazines, or, well, they're basically cozies for your blaster magazines. I'll remove that one really quick. And basically what this does is you could put this on the end of a mag, and it's a little difficult to get on there, but it is rubber, so it does come off. And there we go. It's not going anywhere at this point. You'd have to try pretty hard to pull this thing off. It would protect your magazine, it would make it look cool, give you a better grip, and most importantly, these, like, loops on there. I know Jangular's a big fan of these kinds of things, although he usually gets the kinds that just slap onto the bottom of the magazine. This is a whole little thing that you can put on, and it's a really nice pull loop, so if you want to pull it out of your gear, you can pull it out really easily, or of course, if you have it in a blaster and you want to remove it from the very bottom for some reason, you totally can. Now, these kinds are meant for the 18-round straight stick mags, and it is quite a substantial cool thing. This is meant for, well, basically anything that will fit in it. Almost anything besides a 6-rounder would fit on this. I know 12s fit perfectly, and that's probably more like what it's for. And there you go. Just like that. Very similar to the black one, except for, obviously, this would not fit on like a 12-rounder. This would, and it functions almost identically. Same concept, too. You've got the nice rubbery pull right there. And they're pretty nice. The best part is these things are like anywhere from $3 to $4. I believe this is about $4.30. This is like $3.40. These prices change all the time. That's the prices of what I'm recording right now, but they're reasonable for what they are. There's a lot of material here, and they're relatively cheap, so if you wanted to get enough to deck out all of your magazines, you totally could. I would be a little cautious. Like in my chest rig, these things touching together kind of like that requires a lot more space than just one of these things, and they're rubber, which could make it more difficult to pull out of your chest rig. I don't have enough of these to test, but that may be an issue unless you're using like one of the I would say one of the like plastic mag holders that you can get, but I have a chest rig with basically just fabric, and these might give me a little bit of an issue, but the best part would be I don't have to worry about like breaking my mags if I let them just hit the concrete. The normal NFStrike mags do have little rubber pieces right here. That's not a lot of protection, it's a little bit. Third-party magazines tend not to, so this could be something that you could put on those, any kind of these straight magazines. Yes, you could technically put them on like the curved ones a little bit. I mean, a little bit. It doesn't look right, so I honestly wouldn't bother. Now here comes something I'm actually really interested in. I was very surprised when this was sent in. I had no idea what it was, and then I unboxed it. This is the second time I've done this unboxing because I didn't have the camera in focus last time, and that was a headache to watch. But these are, well, ripping the box. But these are, in fact, little spring-loaded flip-up sights. There's actually 3 of them in here. We'll remove them. And these are some of the nicest pieces of anything I've gotten for a blaster. Seriously, these are really freaking solid and nice. These are not like thin plastic or anything like that. These are very heavy-duty, not 3D printed. Oh, they're just really super nice. They do click down and they flip down like that. This one has a little tiny pip-up sight that you can put like that. It actually has 2, so if you have it selected to the other one, it doesn't work. And then you press this button on the side, and it flips up. This is obviously being the rear aperture. But what makes these really nice, you notice these dials on the side? It's completely adjustable. It actually clicks like on a real sight. I mean, this might be a real sight. I have no idea. It does say worker on it, but this is... My gosh, that's nice. That is really, really nice and adjustable. With the front sight right here, we got the one thing right there. I should mention that like pieces like this push button are all metal. These dial on this one is metal, so is the middle piece right there. Same thing. Flips up with the press of a button, and this you can lower or raise the post in the middle. If you want to push it up or down, you totally can. I would probably want to put it lower if it was me, although the dial's a bit rough on my finger. There we go. But it is a nice piece of kit. And then you've got this thing, which if you have like an M19 grenade launcher, or actually it's probably more useful to us in NERF than you would realize, but yeah, this is also a flip-up sight! That's frickin' massive, and this is so you can, well, I guess gauge distance if you want to sight in your blaster for specific angle, which honestly wouldn't be the worst thing ever, since you do have to kind of arc shots in our hobby. It can slide up and down. It doesn't really have any clicking that goes with it, but you can move it to a certain pace. Maybe you want to sight it in for like a certain distance or angle, and then you could tighten these back up and then leave that on your blaster, and you'd have this cool flip-up sight that you could put on a rail. Now these will only work with a Picatinny rail, like so, and you do have to remove actually this screw in order to put it into anything, which I will do right now, and it does come with a tool to do that. And there we go, they're on rails right now. Press the button, they flip up, and my gosh, this is just, seriously, like, this is super freaking cool, man. I don't really know what else to say about it. Looks pretty goofy on the stripe, not that you can see it because I can't really frame, but these are just so freaking cool. Like, I have almost nothing bad to say about them. For real. The only issue I really have is that they apparently cost $25. The quality is there, but that's a lot to pay for sights that, unless you're using like a Caliburn or a Prophecy, using like the worker darts, which are stupidly accurate, I don't really think the average person needs. In all honesty, there are sights that are, you know, 1/5 the price, but they aren't really quite like this, and these are really freaking good for what they are. They do seem a bit overpriced to me, but in terms of quality, they're definitely there with a lot of little features, and some of you that this is what you've been looking for, and I don't blame you, because these are just really freaking cool. I like these a lot, in all honesty. I don't know if I would personally pay that much money, but then again, I spent, you know, like 22 bucks on this thing, so I guess it's just, all depending on what you're looking for, I guess. I don't know what these sights are mimicking, what firearm they are. I'm sure they're mimicking some kind of firearm. I honestly have no idea. These are just super, super duper cool. I like these a lot. Now the last thing is something that's actually really freaking useful, but I honestly don't really know exactly how it works off the top of my head. This is Worker Official. I think it's F10555 as well, right? Yep, it is F10555. But this is a dart cutting rig. It's got 2 slots for both 30mm and 36mm. I don't know what size normal people use. I guess it kind of depends on if you're using the, like, accurate, the nipple-tipped darts, because they stick out quite a bit farther than something like that. But what it does is it allows you to take a dart like this, put it in here and cut it and make a short dart, which is, these darts, if you, like, they get messed up a little bit on the edges and stuff like that, maybe they're not making a good seal anymore, but the head parts are fine. It's a good way to recycle darts. Having a shorter dart makes them quite a bit more durable as well. And it's a nice little rig. It's got screws right there, and it comes with a pen pack of blades for it, which is really thoughtful. Seriously. That's a lot of cutting you get to do, and I'm sure you're going to want a pretty sharp blade when you're doing that. And this thing does, in fact, hold your blades. I'm a little confused how exactly I get this in there. It looks like it uses about 5 sections of this in there. I think so anyway, and then these screws will obviously hold it in, but I haven't actually tried to put a blade in here or actually cut a dart with it. I did have a single dart cutter, which I would use a blade exactly like this to cut it, and it worked okay. It wasn't great, so I don't really use it a whole lot anymore. I'm hoping this is far, far better, so I'm going to have to first break this blade off. I get in a section of about 5, so A, B, C, D, E, basically that right there. I'm going to break that off, and then I'm going to install the blade in here, and I'll get back to you in just a moment. Alright, I think I've got this so far. It does in fact use about 5 sections of this, so the very end is 4. I tried 3 just to see how that would work. It really likes the, really likes having 5 in there. It's just the perfect length, as you can see. Absolutely perfect. Question is, does it actually cut anything? So we're going to take this. Oh my god, I cut through that like butter. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my god. Yeah, no, this is 17,000 times better than what I was using previously. Not only does it cut, like, what, 10 darts at a time? Which means I can go through an entire pack of darts very easily, but it makes absolutely clean cuts. Absolutely perfect, while my other one always seemed to kind of hitch on the bottom, or it would squish the foam in a certain way. This works freaking flawlessly. No joke. That is really freaking useful! I usually carry these, like the other one, it's in my kit that I take with me to wars. You never know when you're going to want to cut down a dart like this and use it in a blaster. It's not optimal, you'd want to use the worker darts if you have the option, but if you don't have the option, you just grab something like this and just make absolutely effortless cuts relatively quickly to convert darts into 2 different kinds of short darts, or half-length darts, or Steffens, whatever you're looking for. So that's, wow, this is now like my new favorite thing. And the fact that it comes with, you can get, what, out of 1 blade, it looks like you can get 2 cutting parts, and there's 10 in here. And this thing's like anywhere from 15 to 18 bucks. That is really useful. It is 3D printed, of course, but man, that is really nice. The only thing I kind of wish it did was have like some kind of magnetic storage or something. I guess that's friction fit enough, so I can kind of keep it in there like this. I wish, like, some kind of way to like put this on there, so I could keep it like on the side or something like that, and keep it in there without having to worry about, you know, having a stupidly sharp blade like that just laying around. But that is that is really useful. I can highly recommend this thing. That takes a lot of heartache out of making short darts, that's for sure. It's definitely, if anything, this is something that pretty much anybody who has a dart blaster that shoots the short length darts should be using. Like, no fooling. This is gonna be a very big game changer for me. So, sweet, yeah, that's everything from NFStrike and Lytake. Let me know what you think down in the description box below. What is your favorite? I think it's definitely this for me, but I'm interested to hear what you say. And if there's anything you're interested in seeing from them, please leave it down in the comment section as well, because they keep asking me what I want, and honestly, most of the time I have no idea what I want. But if you guys have a suggestion, I would love to hear what you guys actually want to see. Otherwise, this has been Walcom S7's Hands. Thank you very much for watching this video. Of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.